Welcome, and thank you for joining for another whiskey review. Today, going back to one of our favorite series, or now is once again one of our favorite series, that is the Cairdeas series from Laphroaig.
Been on a run lately, Mike.
They have been on a run.
Killed it last year. PX was pretty damn good.
One bad until the cast favorites came out, but this time the Lore, Dustin. The Lore.
This is the last, Mike, of the core series from Laphroaig. They have not done a cast strength on, unless you count the 20.
10?
Well, count the 18.
Oh, yeah.
Well, they do a 10 cast strength. So.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I'll take the 18.
So now we've now got a cast strength version of every one of their kind of core standard releases in the Cairdeas series. I guess you're right. Technically, I guess there isn't a Cairdeas 10, maybe.
I'll tell you what.
Whatever.
In the good direction. All right, so this one comes in at 59.6. Am I reading that right?
Yes, sir.
59.6. So Laphroaig Lore, I mean, I've always loved this whiskey. And what they claim, I want to say, I read they claim they have 5 different kind of casks. So quarter cask, bourbon cask, 2 sherry casks.
I don't remember that with Lore, to be honest with you.
I thought it was Oloroso sherry, PX sherry.
The big legend with Lore always was that it had a little bit of 20-year-old whiskey in it.
One of the sherry cask ones.
Yeah, so I don't know if they're claiming it for this one. The price on this makes me think they're not, because this is cheaper than Lore is locally for us, cask strength.
Yeah.
Which makes no sense.
Which makes no sense. Well, yeah, we definitely want to get a few more of these. So yeah, cask strength 10, Dustin. Arguably my favorite one. Definitely my favorite Cairdeas in the last 6 or 7 years.
Well, 10, the cast favorites, was not a cast strength. That was the 52.4 because it was the year thing. This is actually true cast strength. We're not going to do it today, but we will at some point maybe compare these two. I don't need a full heavy pour here, Mike. It's 59%. It has plenty of punch.
All right, Dustin. We struggled to get this bottle. It took a while for us to get our hands on it.
For some reason, you guys in the UK, the places were already selling out, and they were pushing secondary prices right away. And here in the States, it just took a while to get. And then I had a couple of places that were offering it, and they had bad shipping and whatever. Anyway.
Right here. Our marriage of 5
of
our favorite oak types.
I just don't know much about the...
Non-chill filtered. Oh, so it doesn't actually explain them. 5. Yeah, I knew.
Okay,
because that was in the original Lore. So again, it's X bourbon, X quarter cask, X Oloroso, X PX sherry, and what that would be?
Virgin oak, maybe?
I wouldn't think so. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know what am I missing. I mean, I was a Laphroaig expert at one point.
Yeah, I've never done a lot of research on the Lore. The only thing I know is I really like it, and it is a sherry-dominated whiskey. Always has been, and I mean, right here, the color tells you that, the nose tells it to. Same story.
This came out right after they discontinued the 18 and the 15. So, like, the 18 was done in 14, I want to say, and then the 15 was done 15, I want to say. But that was Laphroaig's, because that was their 2nd anniversary. So it started in 16, I think, was when they brought out Lore. And I remember when it first came out, and they talked about 21-year-old sherry cask and, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And again, I've always been a huge fan of the quarter cask. I think that's, I love what that adds to whiskey. I love the oiliness it adds to a whiskey.
Quarter cask really does some good stuff. Captain Morgan's?
Yeah. That was the quarter cask, right? What he's stepping on? He's hiking his boot up on?
I guess, yeah. That might be.
Because I think that's what quarter casks are for, to put on shits or something for long voyages. They're easier to...
I don't know the story on that one.
I don't know.
I will say, Mike, the nose on this thing is coming off young and vegetal. Right away, I am not impressed with the nose on this particular model. 2 things. 1, it's a little more subdued on the sherry note than what my remembrance of Lore was. It made that could just be cast strength. And 2, I agree. It does not... I got the first couple of releases of Lore, and they did have a older feel to it. Very much the first release of Macallan Rare cask. Yeah. But there is a nice, dark, sooty smoke as you dig in on the finish.
Very sooty.
Very nice. The cask strength is really doing a great job with that.
The vegetal note, you're right, there was a twinge of that. But I will say this. Usually with peated whiskeys, especially Isla whiskeys, they can get over that pretty quick. Well,
and it's just opening up, and we're already getting some barbecue. We're already moving past the vegetal, and we're getting some barbecue, which is the sherry and the smoke coming together. There's maybe the quarter cask wood. There's some wood going on here that's giving it a nice toastiness.
That could definitely be from the quarter cask. Quarter cask always gives to me a lot of oiliness too.
Yeah, a lot of vanilla and occasionally coconut notes come through on that.
Yes,
I don't get it here, but then again, I mean, there's a lot going on here.
There is. And again, I think a lot of this is just driven by it's such a high ABV. Maybe it has the exact same cask year breakdown as the traditional, at 48% or something like that.
I'm going to trust they didn't cheap out on us here. They just gave us a good deal. Yeah, well, why would you do that? I'm just going to guess that they were able to do it for a really good price, and they passed it on to us. They killed it with the last one. Maybe they're taking a little lower profit margin on the cartridges to appease the fans. Which, God, that'd be a nice thing to hear in this day and age.
Well, I mean, there's not a lot of other ways to look at it. That's always been an incredibly affordable release, cartridge in general.
Yeah, I thought they were going to jack the price up, but they've been keeping the cartridges at about $100 here in the States for years.
I thought with Cask Strength 10, that would be a bottle that was expensive. It wasn't. I thought the Lore... I mean, again, we looked at Lore like, well, it's $130 here locally. Like, what's this going to be, $200?
Yeah, that's what I was expecting.
No, it's $112.
And I got it for $110. Yeah, I've seen it as low as $95.
Yeah.
I mean, so...
Go figure.
Anyway, the nose is definitely not the showcase here.
Nope.
This smells like your typical aggressive, assertive Laphroaig with a good bit of sherry, but again, not a sherry dominant. This isn't the PX cask. Cask favorites had a little more sherry as well.
Absolutely.
But still, I think sherry is sort of the primary note you're getting on top of.
A lot of pepper here.
Yeah.
A lot of spice.
Yeah, that could be coming from a couple places, you're right.
Pepper, spice. It's a little more popping than the 10 cask. I mean, I think that the cask favorites was, to me, fairly obviously older.
Yes.
So I think it's a little bit younger of a whiskey. It's a little bit more prickly.
More refined for sure on the cask strength. This one, again, is just aggressive, assertive. But, Mike, the important thing is how it tastes. And I think, that's really where it's going to, come in here. Because, again, it is some young whiskey. And sometimes when you do cask strength with younger whiskeys, sometimes it's not going to nose great because it's just aggressive. And 5 wood types, like you've commented here, that's a lot of stuff just kind of fighting with each other. Big, isn't it?
Woo! We were smoking one first, but I tell you what, as soon as you swallow a note that I love in peated whiskeys, tobacco. Big wallop of tobacco as soon as you swallow. And it just stays with this whole experience. And I love when a peated whiskey goes tobacco, Dustin. Now, it still doesn't come off old by any stretch. But more sherry forward than I assumed. Mm-hmm. Not quite as peppery on the palate as it was the nose. And man, that tobacco note has me putting this thing up at least 1 point in my mind, if not 2.
Yeah, so the Arrival is all sherry. It's actually very relaxing, easy drinking. I don't think there's any PX in there. I think it's just Oloroso. My reason being...
Now we're guessing at 2 casks?
Or the
Moscatel or something?
At least the dominant characteristic here, because it doesn't have the sweetness that you get. If you compare this to the cask favorites, which we'll do in a future video...
Okay.
I believe there's a lot more PX driven there. This is much more Oloroso. So maybe I'm not saying it's...
I agree with that.
It's more of the drying, less sweet. But it's very nice, and it's very approachable and easy drinking at the Arrival. And then, buddy, like Mike said, it punches you Mike Tyson style. You're right. It's cigar tobacco all day.
To me, that's the PX. You're right. Initially, I'm getting the Oloroso sherry on the palate. I think part of that tobacco note is something with peat and PX. I could be wrong.
It's one of the most intense, punchy, in-your-face, smoky tobacco.
Oh.
Well, not just the tobacco. I mean, just the punch that comes here in the end. It's dark. It's punchy. It is Tyson, and you're too close. Why'd you get so close to Mike Tyson?
This is young whiskey.
It is, but
young, snappy, punchy whiskey.
It came in.
I'm not saying that as a death nail. As far as that
it came in like a freaking wrecking ball right there.
I think Laphroaig looked at the Cask Strength 10 and said, "This is too refined for these animals. We need to go with something a little younger." The cartridge has always stood for good value, in my opinion.
It really has.
Good value and obtainable.
I do not love the nose. Even with water, it's improved some areas, but it's just something's off.
It's not sherry sherry notes. The sherry casks are not doing the heavy lifting on the nose. Any way you look at it, I think this is a mix between bourbon and quarter cask, as far as like the punchiness of this.
It's funky and weird.
And it's young, so you are getting a bit of that vegetal. Getting a little of that moss on stone.
Yeah, but even like the good smoke notes or like the iodine notes aren't really here.
Some of the iodine's here. It's a wet iodine.
You're not getting into like the Laphroaig fruit notes, which I love.
Oh, no.
I don't. Yeah, the nose here just isn't for me at all.
It's a very aggressive young nose, Dustin. With the palate, it's a different story, man.
Mm-hmm.
Palate's a different story.
A little more of the quarter cask is coming out now. If that's in there, it's got more vanilla.
I've always been a fan of that quarter cask.
I wish they would do the quarter cask.
Captain Morgan stance or not.
That was just a regular release. Cask strength quarter cask.
Oh, absolutely.
I love that bottle.
That was a great purchase.
So water brings down that punch big time. Still, actually, I mean, the palate is surprisingly refined compared to the nose. The nose comes off as very young, very unready for the show whiskey. The palate it's approachable. I don't get any really unpleasant notes here. It's very nice.
The nose comes off as 5 to 8 year old whiskey.
Agree.
But I will say this: the sherry notes are developed, and even the quarter cask notes are developed. Say that Hazelborn 8 we had recently. You know, that was whiskey. What did I say? What wasn't there yet? You know what I mean? Remember when the Ardbeg did that? You know, young, very young, still young. You know,
someday we'll grow up, but we're not there yet.
It's always going to be young. That's be the next years. That should be the next community. It's always going to be young.
Yeah.
But yeah, so to me, it's more that, Dustin. It's more just really, really young initial on the spirit. But I tell you what, on the palate, I'm going for again. But
palate's yummy.
It works.
Yeah. I'm going in for a second sip now with the water. The smokiness is building up. Like initially, I thought I'd killed a little bit too much of it. It's coming back. It's getting smokier. It's getting more barbecue. It doesn't quite have as the traditional Lore. I feel like has a little more sherry up front, a little bit more dirtiness there. I really do feel like it's lacking in sherry. The quality there's down.
We're both there.
But the punchy finish, the way it does everything, this slaps, man. This is doing a good job. It is. It's like watching what is it? Larry, Curly, and Moe. And just watching them slap each other. What is it? Three Stooges.
That is it.
This is the whiskey the Three Stooges needed.
All right, look, Dustin. When I thought this whiskey, I thought it'd be on a similar sherry profile as last year's cask favorites, right? It just isn't.
No.
It's a younger, snappier, less sherried version of it, but that doesn't mean it's not a quality whiskey. Let's actually into whiskey score time, Dustin.
Yep.
I can't remember what I gave the cask favorites last year, but this is a good offering. This is a fun whiskey. I'm at 87.5. I want to go 88, but I can't go that high. Thoughts? No, give me your thoughts.
I'm going to go lower here, Mike.
87.5.
I'm going to 86. The nose, unrefined. I'm very disappointed that I'm not getting the same sherry notes I get on the traditional Lore. I was really hoping that was going to stick through. I don't know that they necessarily changed up the game. It could just be when it went cask strength, like
it drowned it out.
It drowned it out in some way.
Maybe.
It's like,
I doubt it.
It could be like, well, because they went cask strength, all of the casks went. Maybe they water down each cask at different levels to avoid some of this like punchiness. I don't know what the deal is. The bottom line is this is a perfectly fine whiskey if the price is right at $100 here in the States. Totally fair price. Pick up 2 of them. I think you're going to enjoy. Buy one, back up for later.
Buy last year's.
But I'd rather get 6 more of the last year's, and those are going on sale, man. I'm seeing those discounts.
They're everywhere. They're everywhere in the Carolinas too. Like every place in North and South Carolina.
I just picked one up for $65, Mike.
But
that's an epic whiskey and way cheaper than this.
Dude, that destroyed this one. Last year's cask strength 10, and it made the PX, which was a bottle I bought 4 of. I liked it. Made it seem just.
I went back and compared the PX to the last year's, and it's just so unrefined in comparison.
And this is very similar.
Maybe we should compare this to the PX.
Well, that's a better comparison.
That's the one we need because this doesn't compete at all with last year's.
It doesn't.
Last year's just kills this.
It does. All right, those are our thoughts on particular whiskey. If you guys had a chance to try this new cask strength Lore, hope you guys get more out of it than we did. We had high expectations.
That might be the problem.
Might be the problem. It's some of the problem. Some of the problems with whiskey.
Yeah.
Anyway, those are our thoughts on this whiskey. Dustin, until next time, we're the worst, folks.
Happy Cairdeas drinking.
We'll see you then.